Hey, what's up, y'all? It's your girl Apollonia Cross, and today I wanted to go over my end of year or go over my goals for 2022 because I'm in the process of resetting and refreshing life right now. And this is that great middle point to where you really want to do that because we are at the end of June. Tomorrow is July 1st. And so we're about to start that second half of the year. So if you haven't already done so, I wanted to include you guys in this process of doing a little bit of self reflection. And that way we can all get together and reset our minds and reestablish and recommit to our original goals. Now, with this, depending on what your goals were, there may be some things where you're like, well, I got to check that out because there's just no way with what's going on. And that's okay. Or it might be like, all right, I can still make it happen. There's no judgment or anything like that when it comes to your goals. It's always important to have stick with the goal, but be flexible with the plan. And so this is what I wanted to kind of do with you guys today. And hopefully, by me sharing with you my goal review process, this kind of gives you some inspiration on how you can do it for yourself. And so, if this is your first time tuning with me, welcome. My name is Apollonia Cross, and I am a mindset and wellness coach who specializes in helping mompreneurs learn how to manage and improve their self care through creative journaling and planning so that way they can learn how to create a healthy, sustainable lifestyle for themselves and their families. And so, as you guys are hopping on, let me know where you're at in the world and let me know honestly how you've been doing with your goals thus far for the year. And this can be either a sore subject or it can be something really good. But again, this is judgment free. This is more of just a fun exercise and something that is really important to do because a lot of people do not do that. Most of the time is what happens is people set goals and then they kind of just completely let go of them or fall off or even forget about them completely, like the second month into the year. And so this is that opportunity. We're all going to dust off our planners, dust off our journals, and look back and see what we originally wrote and compare it. And now what I like to personally do is I have a journal that I love planners, but I honestly love journaling more. When I was younger, I actually kept a diary on a consistent basis just because I was insecure, but you wouldn't have guessed it by just talking with me and hanging out with me. Because I was an extroverted introvert. How about that? Because I loved hanging out with people. I love being around people. I love talking to people, love encouraging people, and just love in general being around people. But when it came to me being comfortable with sharing my needs, my wants, and all of those things, I was very insecure about letting my personal feelings out. And so I had found a love of journaling, and I still carry that on in my adult life because, especially this, I can't tell you how valuable it is to keep a journal because not only is it something that where you can just kind of allow yourself to remember things on and keep tabs on your goals or whatever, but it's a great way for you to really allow yourself that space to be able to express yourself without any shame or without any guilt or without any worry or fear of rejection or any of those types of things. And especially when we become adults and when we start our families, we learn how to suppress our own feelings a lot, especially for us moms, because we're so focused and worried about everybody and everything else. And so rebuilding that habit of journaling again and acknowledging your feelings and even remembering that you do have deep rooted feelings and desires and it's okay for you to have them even though you have children and responsibilities, like it's so much more freeing and you can learn how to be a lot more intentional and purposeful in your daily life as you are a mom, as you are a business owner, as you are a great employee and wife and daughter and all of the things. Okay. And so this is my journal that I got from Notique that I love. They do not make these anymore, but I really love it. It was a linen bound journal. And I love the fact that it says she conquered her fears. And so I really, really wanted to purposely use this journal specifically for things that I am afraid of admitting to myself, or things that big goals and things that I set. And so this is where I actually wrote out all of my goals for 2022. And sometimes, as much as I love planners, you just can't be a simple journal just to get it all out. Because with planners, you can get very detailed, and this is where you use planners to get very strategic. But with the journal, it is very back to basics, allowing yourself just to get down any and every single thing that you're feeling, and all your wants down without feeling restricted to time dates and everything like that. So I'm going to pull up my journal just to show you guys how I actually wrote down my goals. And as I'm doing that, I see a couple people hopping on. So make sure you guys say hello. And actually, this is not the view that I wanted. So I'm going to completely take my face out so you guys can just purely see my journal. And I wanted to adjust this a little bit. So let me know if you guys can see this. Okay, so that way, and there we go. There we go. All right, so this way, you guys can see everything well. And let me drop this down a little bit. So I got a little bit of glare. I had this a little bit set up, but now it's kind of funky looking. And there we go. All right. And so I love doing this live versus just pre-recording, because I do pre-recorded videos too on my YouTube channel. But I love doing this live, so that way if you guys have questions as I'm going through this, I can actually answer them right now as I'm sharing this with you. So at the end of December last year, I sat down and wrote. One thing I like to do first is I really spend a lot of time like letting my thoughts out. As you can see, there's no stickers, nothing fancy with this, because it's purely meant for me to just be able to express myself, get myself in that creative flow with connecting myself with exactly what it is that I want. And I wrote a letter to God, like, this is what's going on right now. These are the things that I want to work on and how I'm feeling. And then I allow that creative spirit to help me go into connecting with what it is that I truly want. And I broke those down. So these were my original goals, things that I was not in a healthy space at last year was a really rough year. And so I personally was not in a really healthy space. And so what I really was focusing on was healing and recovery for my own personal health and wellness. Because COVID had happened. We were recovering from taking care of our nieces and being foster parents, as well as bringing on a new child in 2020. It was a lot, and it was very taxing. And so my theme focus was healing. And I wrote down some specific things that I wanted to be healed. And some of those things were my marriage, self-worth and identity, my spirit and heart towards my duties and as a wife and as a mom. My mental and emotional health was not in a great place either. And my hustle and grind mentality was really, really a very big reason of that. And so I had wrote those things down. It's important to really do a good self-reflection and get very clear on exactly what it is that you want. And these were those cornerstones for me. And then I wrote down my values. What were my 5 most important values that I wanted to work on was my marriage, 2 becoming 1, my friends and community, myself, wholehearted and true, my family, and my business and my purpose. Those are really, really big things. And actually, I originally wanted to talk specifically about health goals, but when I look down at the beginning of this, like my health, as far as what we consider health, most of the time when a lot of people think of self-care, they think of exercise, weight loss, spas and pedicures and those things. But none of that was a part of my original goals or my plan, which probably explains why my physical exercises, even though I did write down some of those goals, they were not, it just was not really on a focus of my mind, because at the time that I was writing out my goals, I was more focused on wanting to be present and be in a healthier mental and emotional and spiritual space. And this is why this is such a key focus whenever I do work with like my clients. I make sure that we go through this phase first, because before you can start fixing anything around you, you have to really start doing that deep work. And so this is how I do that here. And then I wrote down some big goals for me. I wrote down, as you can see, I'm a big writer. I write down a lot just in general. But some big things that I really wanted to share with you guys on my, again, pertaining to health goals, because I don't want to get into every single thing because there is a lot. But one thing that I really enjoyed doing was having each category and then taking a highlighter. Oh, not those. So I chose these 3 highlighters. So red is for where I'm not, improvement definitely needs to be happening. This tan is like where there's kind of been some improvement. It's kind of like in the middle. And green is for where I'm using this to help me see where major progress has been made. And this is really important to do, however your method is. This is just what I like to do. But I love highlighters because they stand out and each color means something. So it's just a lot more clear for me to focus and identify what's working, what's not. But this is important for you to do, especially in the half of the year, is because we can really start that negative self-talk and chatter anxiety really, really, really can kick in and start to attack us very bad. And so especially as we're going into more of a calmer, well, not calmer, but we're gonna go through summer and then we got fall and the holidays. A lot of times we can really just say, well, I'll just try again next year. But no, it's okay to refresh your goals. It's important to really look back because maybe you didn't achieve some things. And so you need to recognize those things. So a lot of, before the video started, I was trying to do this, but I didn't get finished. But this will be a great exercise for you guys to be able to see some things. So a lot of things that got better in my marriage. We got a lot better with communicating our needs and the things that we wanted without like worrying about what the other was going to say about it. And we've been a lot more supportive and love and valuing each other more as we are versus how we wish to see each other. And been working better with being more at working together as partners and respecting each other's individuality. And when it comes to self-care, and especially when you're married or you're in a relationship, your relationship has a very big impact on how you take care of yourself. And so working on that for me was a very big thing. And I actually recognize out of a lot of specific things, like there were some tangible things like going on a date night once a month, and going on a couple's vacation at least once a quarter. That was definitely goals, but with 4 kids and not a lot of daycare or help with that arena, it's, we're in that progress. We did go to my sister's wedding, so I'm gonna give that like this, first quarter we didn't do that. We didn't go on any vacation first quarter. Second quarter, which we're in second quarter right now, we did go to Las Vegas together alone, even though it was 24 hours, but we still got to go and we got to have some fun at the Aria Hotel by getting some treats together. And so that was great. And so definitely there was some progress made. Going on a date night once a month, that wasn't really something we did. So I'm going to give this a red because there's still some improvement there that can happen. Definitely. We started on it and then we stopped. So there was no real consistency on it. So those are just some things like I'm using my highlighters to help me be a lot more aware of. And so that was that. Now getting into health, having more intentional and private me time. This is something that I'm going to give myself like a yellow, or not a yellow, but a tan, because it's been getting better. But again, with being a stay-at-home mom and a primary caregiver for the family and everybody else, this is something that is difficult. And that's okay, but it has been getting better. I've been better with acknowledging it and actually unapologetically stating what I wanted. So that is all in. It's getting better. And instead of, again, just focusing on what I'm not doing well at, I want to focus on what I am making progress. Now, this is a physical, tangible thing that I wanted to achieve, was lose 40 pounds healthily by July 1st. That was like, nope, didn't happen whatsoever. Because again, where my focus was and where I was being led more on working on for my health was more focusing on my family and my mental and emotional and spiritual health, and making sure I was stable in that first before I can work on my physical, because that it's such a big deal. Such a big deal. And so even though the 40 pounds didn't happen for me, I'm happy that I'm seeing all the other areas that have been improving that is going to support me with reaching this goal. So that is still something that is achievable by the end of the year. And that's if I really push myself for it and I get very strict. But so I'm just going to work on changing, because I did put that by the end of September, I want to be down 30 pounds. Not 30 pounds. By the end of September, I want to be down 15 pounds. And so this is still something that is achievable and in the works. And it's still something that I can do. And so I'm just going to put here, I'm going to cross a line out of this and then put December 15th, 2022. This is my new goal. And so this way, I'm giving myself permission to be flexible versus beat myself up about it. Because again, there were still other things that I made progress on. And so this is very important that we do this reflection. And so rebuild strength and endurance by building more muscle. And so I was kind of doing that. Just going to give myself that. I was starting to, and I was trying to get, honestly, what happened was I was really trying to get ahead of myself and trying to do all of the things at one time. Wonder Woman mentality and that hustle and grind was really like there for me, even though it was at the end of the year. But over time, and I have to sneeze. Excuse me. But over time, like that was one thing that I really was able to work on, working through and giving myself a lot more grace with, because especially after having kids, it's something that's more difficult with me, with weight and getting my body back and all of the things. It just triggers a lot of negative emotions and self-hatred for myself. And we don't want to be in that type of a mental space when you're wanting to focus on getting your body back in shape. We want this to be a positive experience, because otherwise what's fueling your motivation is negativity. And you don't want to be fueled by that negative energy to get you to where you want to be. You want to be fueled by your purpose and by your desires and the love that you have for yourself, that, I know I can be better. And so this is a part of me loving myself and getting better, versus having this mentality of, no, I need to get back to where I was because I'm not good enough as I am right now. Do you hear the difference with that? It is very different, and you can definitely get back in shape with that mentality. However, again, it can become toxic. You may not realize that in the beginning, but it can be down the road. So let me go ahead and finish up and get through this. Being confident and secure in my self-worth and identity. Yes. And I love these non-scale victories, because we can get so wrapped up in the scale that it can completely take over our lives. And that is nowhere near sustainable or healthy whatsoever. And so that was something that was really a big growing point, because like I said, like I have a history of postpartum depression, anxiety, and have had a history of eating disorders when I was younger. And not having a healthy relationship with the scale. And so this, for me personally, is huge. And so if you're somebody who also can kind of relate to some of the things that I've been sharing, like, then having some non-scale victories is going to be so important for you, to fuel you, to pull you to want to keep going. And so exercising 5 days per week, yep, I'm going to give myself a red, because that was not happening. It wasn't that I was trying. I've had some good weeks and bad, but yeah, there's a lot going on. My kids are still not, my littles are still not in a consistent morning schedule, and that affects the day and how things go. And so it's, that is what it is, and that's okay. But we're working on that one. Participate in 3 half marathons with the family. Yep, that's that's and that's okay. This is a work in progress. This may be something that I roll over, because we are still very much in a recovery and momentum building phase. So this might be something that I do need to push back, and that's okay. I'm going to write a little note right here just so I remember. Push back to to later. And I'm just going to put out of momentum phase. So maybe that might be something that we do next year, but definitely not right now, because we're still doing a lot of habit building and recovery. Spend more time in creative flow to bring more joy in each day. And yes, this has definitely been happening. And I've actually found myself feeling a lot more peaceful and happy. And in turn, that's making me want to be more happy and present with my family, and also more happy and present for myself also. So we've covered marriage, we've covered health. And so there's been great progress made thus far, which is important to reflect on. So develop and launch a wellness planner by September 26th. Oh yeah, this is totally okay. So I've gotten a lot of questions about people asking me, like, do you make a planner or all of those things? It's a yes and a kind of a no thing. I haven't done it before, but I've been getting into this a lot more. And so I am in the process of developing a wellness planner, physical and printable, for next year. But my goal is to have it completely laid out. And so this is something that I can still totally push for. And I'm so happy that I seen this. And why I have it in health, I have no clue, probably because it's a wellness planner. But this makes me so excited, and I'm going to make sure I put this on here, because it has been on it's been on my goals, and it's on my vision board for my business. And so I'm happy that I wrote that down, because that is a very big thing for me. Oh, that belongs with that too. All right, so we're going to highlight this yellow just so I can make sure. Boom. There we go. And then launch a Fearless collection by July 15th for pre-orders with my son. And this was a project that we were working on, and I told him we still would. And it's been on a little bit of a back burner, but we've been talking about it. And so I'm just going to give myself a 10, because we have been talking about it. There's just been a lot of other things going on. So seeing where I can recommit to these things is so important. All right. So let's go into business goals. Let's see. Business goals. Let's see. Oh, let's do traveling. So wanting to travel with my family without worrying about the financials. That's a very big thing. We haven't done a whole lot of traveling this year, but Disneyland is a big thing. And we've been talking about going around the holidays. And so that's still a thing that we are still in progress in talking about. So I'm just highlighting this. And then Oklahoma, we decided not to do because my husband wanted to get himself a K5, which he did instead. But our 10-year anniversary is coming up. So we have been talking about going to one of our dream spots that we always want to go to, and is New Orleans for our anniversary, because he still has the time off, and it's like a whole week at the end of August. And so this, I'm just going to put on here for that. And so this is like 80% happening. Like, I haven't booked anything or whatever, but we've been talking about it and planning it. So I'm just going to give myself a green on that one, because that is totally going to happen. It's our 10-year anniversary. So we got to make something happen and unapologetically go somewhere without the kids. All right. And so family goals, I want to see our family working better together as a team, making decisions together that are in everyone's best interest, having fun together, and being more supportive of each other's interests and hobbies. And this, I'm going to give myself a green, because we have definitely been doing that. Definitely been doing that a lot better. I've been talking to each other like, okay, what do you guys want to do? How can we build this into the schedule? How can we make sure that it works for everybody? Because it's important that your kids know that they are involved and that their wants and desires are also important, and not just your own personal goals and your own aspirations and businesses. And so that was something big. Healthier and active. And this is something that we have been working on. My husband and I've been going to the gym with the boys and working out with them. Want us to be more active together and individually, bringing our family back to living a healthier and more intentional lifestyle. And this is, I'm going to give us, we're in the progress because we literally just started doing this. And so now it's just into building it into a consistent routine and habit each day. And our schedule is very crazy, just with my husband's work schedule. And then we do have the littles, and their schedule is like whatever goes. So I'm giving myself a progress because we have been working on it and making it happen. But it can still definitely get better. And then Disneyland. Oh, let me just highlight this. Disneyland at the end of the year with the kids is definitely in a yellow. I'm going to be starting a sinking fund for this. And so worst case scenario, we would just have to push the date back. And so some business goals that I wanted was helping women with my 18-month coaching program. I do have some revenue goals on here, but right now I'm honestly, those are revenue goals, but I'm not so much focused on hitting the money right now. Like, that I know is going to come down the road, but right now my focus is on giving the value. And so I'm going to give myself a yellow on that, just because, again, like, it's not so much important to me right now for these revenue goals. They are important to me, but again, I want to make sure that I am building a valuable and sustainable business, and that's more of where my goal and my focus is, versus just focusing on the income. Because what's the point of the income if the value is not there? And so I definitely, this is where my focus is. And I'm going to highlight this. The money will come, period, point blank. It's not even a question. Like, it's going to come. Focusing on helping the women is more important. And in return, I will receive the money as just return. And that's a big mental shift for me, because I was putting so much value in how much money to make and all of the things, which is nothing wrong with making money, but I recognize that having my focus on income, it was being very toxic, because I was tying my self-worth to how much I could make versus having my self-worth rooted in who I am and who I'm serving and the value that I give. And that was blocked. It creates a negative energy, and it blocks you from being able to receive anything. Because whenever you don't receive what you expect, then based off of something that is not rooted in something deeper, then when you don't get it, you're more frustrated and angry, and it's just not a healthy place. So for me, that is what I wanted to switch. And so what was the next one? Our next 25K from my social media platforms, monetizing YouTube and Instagram. Definitely a goal, but like I said, I'm not focused on the money right now. It's more focused on the value and making sure that it is there first. Reaching 10,000 followers on YouTube by October. That could totally still work. I mean, with how things grow and stuff exponentially on social media, that, I mean, hey, like, anything is possible. But I'm just gonna give myself because right now I am still under 1,000 followers on YouTube. Could I get 10,000 by the end of I put on here by October. I'm just gonna give myself permission to push this back, like, because that I can't control that. I really, now, like, thinking about it, I really cannot control how much growth happens with that. I can just, again, continue to make sure that I'm giving the value and that people will see it and receive it and want to follow me. So, I mean, I'm just going to push this back. That'd be great, though, but I'm going to just push this back to December 31st, 2022. And so we'll see, right? Like, we'll see. I'm going to give myself a yellow. Or not yellow, a tan. I don't know why I keep calling this yellow. 5,000 followers are reach 5,000 followers who are my Instagram. I'm planning her way to fit. That is still something that can totally work. And honestly, the way Instagram grows, it grows a lot faster than YouTube, in my opinion, in general. So we'll just give that a yellow, because, and I'll leave that. I did not give myself a date, so just leave that. And what I was really focusing on wanting to get into branding campaigns. And this one, I want to give myself a yellow or tan. Stop calling this yellow. Give myself a tan on this, because it really hasn't been a focus. It's been on top of mind that I want to achieve this, and this is still a goal, but I need to just do revamping, and again, focusing on the value. So I'm going to make sure I write that. Focus on the value. There we go. And thank you, person who's doing the yard. All right, but that just about wraps it up for my goals. And let me shut this window. So sorry, that was not supposed to happen. And uh-oh. Wait a second. Oops. There we go. All right. So apologies. All right. So that concludes me doing my self-reflection on what my original goals were. And I really love, again, like I said, having these highlights here. It helps me still see where progress can be made and where progress has been made. And then also I gave myself permission to make adjustments. And that's so important whenever you are going through. Let me highlight this real quick before I forget. But that's so important when you need to sit down and review your goals, because you're going to want to make sure that you stay positive. You don't want to be down on yourself just because you didn't hit that exact metric or whatever, because it's always more important to focus on progress versus perfection, because we will never ever meet perfection because we're human, and that's okay. But as long as we're still making progress that's in alignment towards our overall goals, and this one I actually needed to cross out the date. I'm going to give myself by December 31st, 2022. There we go. Boom. And so by, again, making adjustments to the plan, but still having the same goal is important, because this is what's going to keep you going. And so now that I've had this, now I can go into my planners and say, okay, these are the things that I'm doing well on. So I don't have to push so much or focus on that. I can start getting a lot more intentional with the other areas where I need improvement on. And then I can start to break those down and create action steps and focus points and set those milestones that I need to. So that way I can make sure I'm working in alignment towards that. So, yep, that is all in my journal. Let me go ahead and close this out so you guys can see me. Oops. All right, you guys. So thank you so much for hanging out with me on today's live. I hope you guys enjoyed this exercise and it gave you a little bit of an insight to kind of do for yourself if you are in this process of renewal and wanting to hit the refresh button and reset your goals and recommit to working towards them. Take this exercise and really use that to help you kind of gain some clarity. And even if you completely just said ditch your goals, you didn't even set goals or anything, but you want to go ahead and start setting some goals, this is still a great opportunity to do that, because your start date is whenever you choose that you want to start. It does not have to be January 1st. It doesn't have to be July 1st, February 1st, whatever 1st. It can be the day that you decide that enough is enough and I'm going to commit to living a more happier, healthier, and intentional life. And so grab you a journal, grab you a planner. I always recommend start with the journal first. So this way you can get very, very clear with identifying what it is that you want and getting very specific and connected to the deeper purpose of why it's even important to you. So that way, whenever big things come up and start to deter you from focusing on your goal, now you remember, no, I'm doing this because of this, and you can keep pushing through. So again, guys, don't forget to grab a journal and note paper. We got back to school happening, so there's no excuse on journals are expensive or whatever. If you really are on a budget, you can go to the dollar section. You can do what you got to do, but start a journal. Think about and get clarity on exactly what it is that you want, and get specific with your goals and write those down and start and pick your date. All right. So thanks again for hanging out with me. I cannot wait to talk to you guys on the next live, which will probably be next week, because this weekend is all going to be videos that'll be posted on YouTube. So you guys be sure to check those out. And if you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. That way I can answer those. Or if you're interested in maybe possibly working with me, post in the comments below too. And that way I can reach out to you, or you can click the link in the description and fill out my wellness consultation. This yard man is driving me nuts, but you can fill out my wellness consultation. We could possibly set up an appointment to connect and talk further. So talk to you guys later. I hope you guys have a great day.